Today we are going to learn about the coordinate plane. So our goal by the end of the lesson today is that you will understand what a coordinate plane is and be able to identify some of the main features. So what is a coordinate plane? A coordinate plane is a 2D number line and it has two axes that we call them. We have a horizontal x-axis or a horizontal number line. And then we've got a vertical y-axis. So all we have here is, the traditional number line, which simply usually looks like this. You might plot some point, 0, 1, 2. We've got two horizontal number lines, one going horizontally, which we call the x-axis, and one going vertically, which we call the y-axis. And that creates four sections on this two-dimensional plane. These four sections are called quadrants. We have quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. Now, when we are dealing with the coordinate plane, we do have positive and negative numbers. So quadrant 1, well, let's back up for just a second. Let's identify where these two axes meet. The point where both axes meet is called the origin. So we have the origin, which is where the x and y axis cross. And that's going to be at the number 0 on the x-axis and 0 on the y. So this is the 0, just the center. The origin is where we're going to start anytime we're working with a number line. When we're talking about quadrant 1, we have two positive numbers. We have a positive number on the x-axis and a positive number on the y-axis. Moving over to quadrant 2, you're going the opposite direction on that number line from 0. So believe it or not, your x coordinate is going to be negative, but your y coordinate is going to remain positive because it's still going up. In quadrant 3, we have negative on the x and negative on the y because you're going to the left and then down. Quadrant 4, we have positive on the x and negative on the y. And that's going to make a little bit more sense as we start talking about how to actually plot the points. What's important for you to take away from this is where the x-axis is located, where the y-axis is located, and where the origin is located. You should also be able to label all four quadrants when you are done with this lesson. So the vocabulary is a great way to learn the names on this number line. And the vocabulary goes like this. The x-axis is a number line. It goes across the map. It's really wide. And the y-axis isn't wide. It's tall. It goes up and down my map. That's all. So this helps you to remember that the x-axis goes across and the y-axis goes up and down. It's vertical. It goes up and down. Where they cross, that's the origin. When I entered the dungeon and where I begin. And that's where x equals 0 and y does too. If I didn't understand that, I wouldn't have a clue. This is the chorus of the vocabulary that I think is very important because, again, it helps us to remember about the x and y axis, and it also gets us introduced into ordered pairs, which you're going to learn in the next lesson. It goes, feeling richer than a boss. My x-axis goes across. My y-axis, it climbs. So when I graph x, y, and get paid on a plane. Now let's ride. Understanding that we always graph x followed by y is very important. So your takeaways today are going to be locating your x-axis going horizontally, your y-axis going vertically, your origin, that place in the middle, as well as the four different quadrants that do go counterclockwise.